Hey guys, welcome to Saturday night stream. And funnily enough, it's Saturday night, but we're going to send our character to sleep. Okay, so basically, I have made a bed as one of our interactive items, and this is going to be a slightly different thing because we are going to be directly affecting our demo character's animation blueprint. Okay, so I've had a look through our sleep animations and we don't have a perfect one, but we can put into place a system that's going to work. Okay, so what we're going to do first of all is we're going to get our animation blueprint. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to rename this because we don't actually need this. We can say is sleeping. Okay, and our next thing is we're going to go to movement, and this is actually going to change to sleeping. Okay, so we're going to go there, and this is actually going to be enter sleeping. Okay, because we're going to have 3 enter sleeping. Okay, and this enter sleeping is actually going to be this one here. Okay, and we're going to delete that. The next one is going to be simply sleeping. Okay, and we are going to say in current time remainder on time remaining on enter sleep, right? And that's going to be less than 0.1. And that's going to be it. Okay, we might need an OR. Hey, Quasi, how are you? We Well, you could say yes, right? But this is going to be a main project because I'm working on this with an animator, modeler, not unlike yourself. Okay? Now, the funny thing was, I wanted to actually, for you to join my Discord, right? Find my link on Discord because I want to ask you a few things about animation in Unreal Engine. Okay, I've been looking at your videos, not really watching them, but looking at a couple of them to find out what sort of things that you sort of do, and there's a couple of things that I don't know about animations that you can maybe explain to me. So I would really appreciate it if you either, well, the easiest way is to join my Discord so that I can pop you a message on DMs or something, if you wouldn't mind. That is right. So basically I have been working on the systems for this game, and we're actually going to making our character sleep, right? So I'm actually doing the animation blueprint for this, and so we're going to basically say exit sleep. Okay. Whoopsie doopsie. Rennie, you will see in a minute, okay? It is a Viking survival game. So basically, we're going to come back to here when is sleeping. And we say not. Well, actually, we say not. Right, because we want you to come out of sleeping when we're not sleeping anymore. Okay, so we say not is sleeping. Okay. Okay, so yes, if you'd have been here about 2 minutes ago, I just explained this one to Quasi. Okay, yes, I was working on what I was told was basically what was that? Backrooms game. But I was doing that as basically a project to help somebody else when they had problems doing what they were going to do, which was something similar. So basically I was making that so that any problems that they came across, I would be able to answer them. And it just basically ended up as a game. But this is something I'm working on with a modeler, my modeler animator. And this is going to be a main project that we're going to put on Kickstarter and stuff. Right. So if you give me 2 minutes, I'll show you what we've got. Okay. So we save that. So basically what we're doing here is this jump start and jump end and stuff can basically go away. I'll move this down here out of the way, right? Because I don't even know if we're going to use jump or not. But anyway, so basically this allows us to enter sleep, right? Which makes us basically... oh, wait a minute. This is wrong. Oh yeah, that's fine. Right, so we exit the sleep. I don't think I've put this in any of these, right? So we save that. Then we go back to our movement. And then this... I'll show you the game in a minute, okay? Or I'll show you some of the systems in a minute. And then depending on how it goes, we'll load up the actual game. And I'll show you a bit of the start of it, okay? If that tickles your fancy. Exit. Sleep. Right, and we'll say is less than 0.1. And we'll delete that for now. And I believe I haven't done the sleeping one. Yeah. So we just basically do a sleepy. Okay. And you'll see some of the systems I've got in place, right? When I do this. Because the first thing we're going to do is we're just going to link it to a button. And then we're going to apply it to our a bed, right? So first of all, we'll link it to a button, then we'll link it to a bed, okay? So let me show you what we've got so far. We've got an interactive system, right? Where you can basically pick stuff up, right? Now, there's actually, as you can see, an animal, and it'll basically do its own thing. It'll run about. It basically got scared by me there, and as you can see, it deforms the snow. We deform the snow, everybody deforms the snow, and we have stuff like food. That doesn't seem to be working anymore. Right, we can pick that up, and this log we can pick it up. Then we can go into our slots inventory, right? We can look at our shield, we can spin it around, have a look at it, have a look at our item there, blah blah blah. Yeah, you're basically returning to Greenland, right? So it's supposed to be cold, right? So you can use that. Or you can click on this. This is a bit weird because of the size of the thing and all the rest of it, but this is just a systems test to make sure it's working, which it is. We can stop that for now, and that is to do with that food, which I think somehow I've managed to muck up the settings on it. Right. Which is this item here, which is BP food. Right, now that should actually be able to do stuff, but I was mucking about with food earlier. Right, but I'm not going to go into that one because I'm really wanting to get our character to sleep. Right, so I'll fix that in a minute. Or after the stream if we don't. I'll fix it on the stream if we get that far, okay? Oh yeah, hang on a second. Right, so there's also a system in place, right? For like, if I use that, it'll play animations and then it'll activate stuff, right? Etc. Pretty cool. And then you can see the little temperature gauge on the left hand side going up and down as we go inside towards the heat, right? So yeah, we can actually switch that off as well by doing that. And there you go, you see? So all the interactive stuff for that is now working, right? I don't care if it would look better or not. To be honest, it doesn't matter, right? It's the gameplay that matters. That's the only thing that matters, the gameplay, right? If the graphics are workable and pleasant enough, that'll do, right? Players aren't really that bothered unless they've got some crazy rig. Okay, plus the fact that if I've got a video ready on why I don't use Unreal Engine 5 yet, okay? So, now we need to get our character to sleep. So, we're going to do it as a manual thing first by just hitting a button, okay? And then, once we're happy with that, we shall basically set it up as a bed thing, okay? So, not a very good tip, right? Well, it's all actually it's all the same. I don't really mean it as a bad thing, right? The point of the matter is Unreal Engine 5 is not ready yet, right? It's just simply not ready yet. So maybe in 6 months, yeah, fine, fair enough. But right now, no. So we're going to go for H, right? And actually, as a thing that we're going to do, right? What we're actually going to do here is when our animation blueprint is actually created, okay? We are going to fire this back. Well, yeah, that's also in my video, I say that, right? Personally, I've used Unreal Engine 5 and I had problems, okay? So, yeah, not a good tip for me. But as I said, if you're happy with Unreal Engine 5, then great, super. Right, so what we're going to do here is get a reference to self. And what we're going to do is in our demo character, plus the fact that these there's a couple of assets in here that don't work in 5, so there's another reason. No, the character's going to sleep when we get to a bed. If you click on a bed and use the bed, that'll start you sleeping, right? But I'm just going to check that my logic works and then move it into the bed interaction, okay? So what we're going to say is anim instance, right? Anim instance, and we'll set that as variable, and then in our instance, our anim instance, when we've actually created ourselves and we know that we exist, we're going to set our anim instance, and then we can just directly reference it. Okay, that goes in there, and that's us basically done. Okay, so that we don't need to do any casting or stuff like that. We just need to reference our character here. And so we've got our K button, and basically we pull this in, get it, and we're actually going to flip-flop on this one, but we'll set this up first. Is sleep. Wait a minute. Anim instance is not anim instance, it is ABP that. I'm looking forward to Unreal Engine 5 being actually production ready, but it's just not at the moment, so you know, I'm glad for people that are having fun and everything's worked, but you know. So as we set as sleeping, and we can basically flip-flop this. Just as a test. So we'll set that to true. Set it to false. Save that. Right. Do I believe there's actually a problem? Apparently, it says there is. I'm going to have to set that again. Whoops. Set anim instance. This is because I changed the variable type. So that goes in there. Drag this back down. That can go there, save that. We should be good to go. play. Okay, so you get the full effect, right? And press H. And there she goes. Right? So what we're going to actually have to do here is we're going to have to move the camera, right? Because you obviously can't see her. Actually going to sleep. Now this isn't what I think it is. This is just a static mesh, right? So these are the kind of systems that I want to get in place, right? Because basically our bed is an interactable. We can't inspect it, we can't pick it up, but we can use it, okay? So in our bed, if we go to our event graph, we can delete that stuff, right? Then what we can do is, oh yeah, well we've got our, what we say is event use item, and then what we can do is say get player pawn, cast it, and we really need to rename this to something a bit more sexy rather than demo character. Right, because at this point it does just sound a bit crappy. Right, so what we've got to do is we've got our demo character, then anim instance, right, and off of this we're going to flip flop right, and we're going to set sleeping in this case to true. I'm going to duplicate, okay, we're not going to duplicate that, we're going to duplicate that. We're going to plug that in there. We're going to plug B in there. Then we're going to do that. We're going to save that. Now, the interesting thing here is I'm probably going to have to add this to our list of interactable items. In the meantime, we're going to undo this so that it's not going to interfere, and we know it's not the button that's doing it. So we're going to go and get our list of interactable items. Now, give me a second. Ah, damn it. Now that's okay, right? Because you'll notice the bed has no static mesh or anything. Well, this is the system that I'm working on, that we don't need any of that stuff, right? We could put it in here, but it's going to load it itself anyway, right? So what we can do is we can put item name bed. Let's keep it simple, huh? Then it's going to be 7, and it's going to be other. Weight doesn't matter, right? Bed. Now I can't remember which bed is which. And it's not that one. It's kind of the one in the Viking bed thing place. I can't honestly remember where it is. It doesn't actually really matter, to be fair. Right, I believe it's in here. And I think this might be it. Has this one got the bed? Apparently not. Or apparently not. SM box. Right, so it's not in that one. Right, this isn't the one we want, right? Is this the one we want? That's brick, bench, bench. So it's not that one either. It's in here somewhere. It doesn't really matter, to be honest, but apparently I can't find it. Because I'm kind of stupid that way. Go to meshes again, and I think I'm just going to pick any old bench, bed, even. Yeah, it's this one here. That's the one we want. Right. And we don't need anything else. We're not, because this is done in the actual character animation, then we don't need this, right? Not that many. A few. A few, to be fair, yeah. Right. You've put me off my game now. So we're going to save that. Now, the overlap, and this is going to be, that's our bed, so we're going to say that is row 7, right? So we should see a bed pop up here. We'll move it to somewhere better. Don't know where that better is, but we'll move it. Right, so we'll move it to there. Press play. Right, so it should be over here somewhere. Okay, apparently our bed's not there. Right? And that is because I'm an idiot. So, if we go to, let's say here, right, we basically copy that and to here, then we do event begin play, and then we paste that, and that will set our static mesh. Oopsie doopsie. Now we might need to do a couple of other things here, but in the meantime this should now, we should have a bed over there. Alright, apparently we don't. So let's add a breakpoint to find out what the hell is going on. Right. So we have that. Step over, step over, step over. And it should be setting our mesh because it is finding a row. Our thing is 7. Right? Our object is number 7. So in theory, it should be there. Well, that's weird. Let's see what that is. Okay. We'll check that out in a minute. That's on interactable item, right? And that's setting the static mesh there, right? So we actually shouldn't need to do any of that stuff. It should be doing it automatically. Right? So in actual fact, this is not, shouldn't be required. Right? And the interesting thing is going to be what the mesh actually says. Now, it might be that it's actually underground. Right, so I'm going to put it over here. And we probably press play. So where the heck is our bloody bed? Yeah, no errors. Right, we're going to do something here which makes a decent bit of sense, and that is in our interactable item, right, what we're going to do is we're going to copy that code and we're actually going to put it in the construction script, right? Now, if I am correct, it means we should see these items, right? Because it's going to do it. Or possibly not do that, right? But that's why I didn't delete it. What we can do is do that, save that, and you'll notice all our items have actually came up, right? And then we can now see our items. And if we go to our event graph, we can stop this part, okay? We'll move that out of the way, we'll save that. So you can now see our bed, right? But, well, yeah, there it is. Now, I am guessing that we can't interact with it because our interact isn't big enough. Okay? Now, you'll notice this sphere probably needs to be a whole lot bigger, right? Because if I go to the object mesh, right, and then get the bed, as I said, I don't know what one it is. It's not that one. Might be that one. Yep, it's that one, right? So the problem here is our collision box is nowhere near big enough, okay? So for our sphere, we're going to need it a heck of a lot bigger. Okay, so we're going to go with that. And that's going to at least allow us to interact. Okay, or it should. So if we walk up to it, you can see that we can do something. Okay? But I don't know which thing isn't working here. Right, let me have a look at let me have a look at something here. Right, because there's something not quite right. Now, this item here, right, there's nothing here that's inspect item and that's use item, right? Now if I do that and save it, in theory this should, the shield should still work perfectly. Ah, but it doesn't, you see. It's not coming up. It's not coming up with the right thing. So there is something here to do with this reference character, right? That is basically screwing us up, right? Because if I put this back in, now it might be because these items are created before the pawn, in which case we do need that code in there, right? So if I go like that, copy that, and then go to the bed and put this back in begin play, right? There might be a timing issue here, that's what I'm saying, right? There we go, right? So if I now press the key to use this, she lies down and goes to sleep, right? If I use it again, she gets up, okay? So that's what I want to happen. So that is functionally working exactly how I want, right? Now it is doing it slightly differently, right? But it is working. Now we obviously need to do some special stuff, like we don't want her to be able to move, right? But fundamentally it's working. Now, did we get those errors because, or were those errors already there, right? Alright, we can hit the button again, and yeah, with no errors. Those were legacy errors, okay? So that is absolutely fine. She is going down to sleep. As I said, all we need to do now is play a montage that moves her away from the camera and puts her into bed at a certain position, right? Now, I was going to do something there which I can't remember what it was. Right, but fundamentally it is working. What we need to do now is go back to our interactable item, and we need to remove this, right? Because we don't want this confusing us, okay? In fact, you know what? I think we can run this, right? I think we can do this, and I'll show you why, right? I think we can do that, right? I'm going to save it, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go into the bed, and I'm going to use this. I'm going to break that, but what we're going to do is we're going to add a call to the parent, and that's going to set up a reference, right? So rather than have this code all over the place, we'll have it in an interactable item, but we're going to call the parent begin play, right? So now our bed should work fine. As you can see, and we can press our button, and there you go, right? So fundamentally, as I said, we can delete that, and that all works, right? Now we just need to put this into the other we just need to simply do this for each of the different items we've got at the moment. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and grab a cigarette. If you're enjoying it, the stream, hit like and subscribe. I'm going to be 2 minutes. Check out the description for links to my Discord, especially Quasi Animation. I want to see him, and there's also links to my previous game and my Patreon, where you can support the game and the channel. I shall be back in 2 minutes, guys. Don't go anywhere. Okay guys, we're back. And since we've kind of got our sleep working, or at least the mechanics of it, once we get the animation sorted out, we'll be fine. But now we've got that done, right, we can check out our plate and see why we can't eat. Right, because we can't. That was the thing that wasn't working. Right? So we can check out exactly why this wasn't doing what it was supposed to do, and that's basically because we're doing this. So we know that we can delete that, and all we do is add a parent call. Okay? And we can do this on all our interactable items. Right? So we can basically go to here, click on that, edit the clothing, delete all that. That's already set up for us by the actual parent class. And you can't do it there. Right, we can probably copy this, save that, and now we can go to our big loggy thing, which is fuel, and we can do the same thing. We can delete that. And the purpose of this, as well as making it, it's making it simpler for my modeler. If he wants to add items, it's quite easy to add the items, right? Like for example, to pick an item up, all he needs to do is set it to pick up, and then this will do it all. Event pickup, event inspect is the same thing, right? All he needs to do is add these as required, right? And the only like specialized code goes in the use, right? So yeah, these should all basically work now. Right? So as you can see, we've got use pickup. We can go over to here, we've got use pickup inspect. We've got use pickup inspect. Use pick. I think that one we need to change it. Right? That's our drink. And you'll notice that this is theirs. So all we need to do is go like that. And these are all now being set up from data tables. From a data table, okay? We can basically now go to this one. I didn't want to take this too far. And this is set up. You'll see that we've set up this. And that's all our, so we've got our bed, clothing, drink, food, fuel, weapon. Right, so we need to do weapon even though we don't really have one yet, per se. So again, delete that. Then paste, and join it up. Okay. And that is now all working. So, oh yeah, we wanted to do a door. Right. Now, what I want to know is if this is actually a door or not. It's a hut door. Right? Now, I've set that up to be an interactable item. Right? And do we have you see it's not got a DT number, right? So when we actually press play, it's not going to appear. Or wait a minute, why does it appear as a hut door just now? Right, these aren't actually going to be required. Okay. So, if we do an actor, let me say BP underscore door. Right, we need to find out, that's the static mesh, right? So we can copy that. Then we can go into our interactable items. We can add a new row. That's going to be 8. Right, it's going to be door. And it's going to be 8. And it's going to be other. It's not going to have a weight, but we're going to paste that in. We're not going to use a montage, and that's fine. Save that. Okay, so we're going to delete that. Right. And then I suppose we've got to stick a door down here somewhere. And the interesting thing is, well, the first interesting thing is we need to make it an interactable item. So we reparent it to interactable. We save that. We're not going to pick it up, we're not going to inspect it, and it's going to be row 8. And look at that. Isn't that a bit cool? Okay. And I have set this up to completely run. I think this should actually work straight away. Well, no it shouldn't. What we need to do is basically copy this, right, and then paste it in here. And then as before, we need to drag off this. No we don't. We right click on it and add a parent call. And that should be us, even though it doesn't like something. Oh, it's got audio. Okay. So, if we go back to our hut door, we just add an audio component. So we go to our object, add component, audio. And we drag this in. That can go. Refresh that. And that should be us. We should have a working door. Again, we might need to make our sphere a bit bigger, and this is something that we could actually end up storing in a data table. Okay. And there we go. How's about that? And that's now how quickly we can actually interact with items and set them up. So actually, pretty darn quick. So we can do a save all. And our next next thing we could do, just for a giggle, well, that's good, Quasi. Even if people learn not how to do things by thinking that I'm doing it wrong and it gives them an idea to how to do it better, that still works for me, right? So, what I'm going to do next is back to our old favourite widgets. We do love a good widget, right? And what I'm going to do in this case is, I know what I want. Okay? And what I want is a mouse over. Okay? But we're not going to stick with boring. We're going to do mouse overs for both this, each of our categories, right? And we're also going to create one for each of our inventory slots. Okay? So, without further ado, let's create another widget. Because what we're going to do is when we're hovering over, what we're going to do is create our widget in a certain position, right? So this is going to be sort, and what do we call this again? Sort. I'm going to call it sort sub, right? But I know that isn't actually what we want. What we want right? God, I've completely lost my mind. Render opacity. None of these have it. It's a mouse over, right? But I can't remember what the damn thing's called. Right, there's something here where you can set it, especially if you're doing like text, right? And I've completely forgotten what it's called. I don't believe it. Can you guys remember what it's called? Right, hang on a second. Color opacity. It's in here. Tooltip. God, it's bloody tooltip. Right, we're not going to use that because it binds it and we don't like binding. Right, so we'll call this sort tool tip. Right, and in here I just completely, I blanked it there, man. I just completely blanked it. I couldn't remember what the heck it was called. Right, so we're just going to put text in there, and it's obviously going to be, we're going to say text, we'll just call it text tip. Right, and I can't remember if I'm underscoring or not, but anyway. Right. And we shall call another variable tip, and it's going to be a string, and when we create this we're obviously going to set the string, so we'll do that. And I shouldn't have deleted that, but anyway, event construct, and we get the tip, set text, then we get our tip, and we put it in there. Then we tidy it up a bit. And the interesting thing we're going to do here is how we position it, right? So we're going to save that. Okay, so that should be that. And then when we go inventory main, right, we're going to go graph, or, well, we can do it either way, right, but we can say on hovered, right, and we can do that. I hate when it does that. And we can say unhovered. Now, the interesting thing here is for each of these buttons, I suppose we could do it the old boring way. Right, we'll do it the old boring way first, right? And we're not going to do that. Right? What we're going to do is we're going to say custom event, and we're going to say set up sort tool tip. Right? And then in here actually in our graph, what we're going to do is we're going to set up we're going to say tip strings, okay, and then we're going to set that as a array. We're going to save it. Then because we're born, we're going to set it up manually. Again, normally later on when I'm tidying things up, I'll like put stuff like this in data tables. Right, but for the moment we'll just do it the boring way. So that's going to be, let's say, food and drink. Yeah, we'll put that now. Food and drink, clothes. Alright. Doesn't really matter what we set these up to be to start with anyway. But you can say food and where's the ampersand? Right, we can say food and drink, clothing, tools. Now again, we can make this as fancy as we want, but we're just going to have the text for now. Tools and fuel, that'll do. Right, this tip is now going to become a integer. Right, so we're going to delete that. We're going to get that, right? Then we're going to get a copy. And then we're going to plug our tip in there. And then that in there. And that's it. This is going to work for all our different tooltips. Okay, so if we save that, we can go back to our main inventory. Okay, and as a test, unhovered, right, we are basically going to get all widgets of class, right, and it's going to be tooltip, sort tooltip, and we are basically going to say for each and we're going to say remove from parent. Now we're going to turn this into a function because we're going to want all of our unhovereds to go into here. Okay, so in here we're now going to say create widget, and this is going to be tool. Okay, and button all, we're going to say tip equals 0. That's fine. And we're going to say, is it set? Did I say set? Apparently not. It's called setup sort tooltip. Okay. So setup sort tooltip. Save that. We'll go back to our sort tooltip. Right. And we'll click here. And with our text, we're going to change this to that. Leave it 24. Save that. Whoopsie doopsie. And press play. So click on inventory. And it does absolutely jack. Which is awesome, obviously. It's probably doing it. So add breakpoint. Press play. Click on inventory. So it is doing it, right? It's just we can't see what the hell it is. Right? So we can step over. Then if we step into, right, we can do that. And we should see, it says all items. So that's fine. Resume. Right, so it is doing it. Right, so I'm going to do that. Disable. We're going to resume. So I'm going to assume, right, that our tooltip Z order is crap. Apparently not. Oh, that's weird, isn't it? Right, I tell you what. We're going to wrap with a canvas panel. Right, and just for a laugh, we're going to center it just to see what's going on here. Right, and we obviously set it 0.5.5, and we'll size the content, save that. Right. Well, that's weird. Right. Give a Z order of 20, just to be completely bonkers. Right. Oh, that's interesting, I've got to say. Right, that's bizarre. That is thoroughly bizarre. I'm an idiot. Okay? Don't know why you guys didn't spot it, but guess what we forgot to do? Yes, add to viewport. Duh. There we go. Okay, that's cool. So now we can get this canvas panel or rather this go 0 0 right, and you can see it's up there at the top left. Right, so we need to reposition it basically. So basically what we do, or at least the first thing we do, is not that, and that actually should be 0, and that's going to be 0. Save that. Then in here under I think it's mouse. Or is it cursor? We don't want to get hit result, so it's might be mouse position. Is it mouse position? Get mouse position. Right. And that's going to give us an X and a Y. Okay. I can't remember if I'm doing this right. I would have to refer back to Right, so that gives us an X and a Y, right? And if we go back to here, basically CP underscore tip. Right? And go to graph. And CP tip. Get. Then set render translation. Whoopsie. We can split this, right, and we can say whatever, right, plus plus 100 or something, right, and we'll see if this works. I don't recall doing it like this before, but this might actually be the easiest way of doing this. Now normally you'll obviously end up calculating it by the resolution you've got or whatever, but we're not going to go too far into that right now. Right, so there you go. So we could stop that. Right. And just a second here. Right, that appears to be too much anyway, so we'll hit 50. That'll do us, I think. Right, you just need to calculate how big your it's going to have to be 96, right? Let's say 97, right? Because the width of that widget is 97, 96, right? So if you're at the far left of it and you basically hover over it when you're at the far left of it, you still want it to be clear on the right. Okay, so you need 1 pixel to make it all right. Okay, so I'm just going to go for that. There's other calculations you could do, but we're just trying to get it working just now, so let's not get too bogged down in it. Okay, so I'm going to go to here, and this one is food, right? So it's this one here, and basically, again, right, we just go hovered and unhovered. Right, and basically we could plug all these in there. And in fact, we could turn this into a function as well, right? So it would just pass a number in. But we'll just check a couple and then we'll do that. Or I shall do that off stream, because that's a bit crappy boring. But there we go, we set that to 1. So we should have the two of them working now. So hit that. There you go, food and drink, all items. Okay. So yeah, pretty cool. So what we can do is hide tooltips. Actually, this is going to be hide sort tooltips. Okay. And go back to here. Cut that. Paste that. And that's it. Okay, we go back to here. Drag that in. That can go there. And we can basically get all the unhovereds together and do this, right? And we can basically add another one that says show sort tool tip, and it is going to have an input, right? Call it tip. It's going to be an integer. Then we're going to paste, and that's not it. Delete that. Save that. Go back to here. That's going to be our thing. Copy that. In fact, we'll cut it. Save that. Go to here. Paste it. Drop that in there. Put our tip number in there. Save that. Back to our event graph. Delete that. Duplicate that. As I said, we could basically do these and put all the ones together, right? And basically all the unhovered would go into one. So we only even need that. And we could do it even similarly for this by setting up a variable, right? Okay. We could do it, right? Let's do it. So we'll call it sort number, and we'll call it temp. Okay, and it's going to be an integer, right? So the way I would normally do this is we'd set that drag this down a wee bit away from that other stuff up above. We'll drag this in. Set that in there. Right, we duplicate that. We set it to 1. Right, we do that. And then what we do is we get our temp number, we plug it in there. And that's basically going to give us the same result, but you'll notice that we're doing a bit less because normally we'd do that and then that and then that, etc, etc. Right? And we can test it. There we go. There we go. Beautiful. Lovely. Right. And I think we'll call it there, guys. So if you've enjoyed the stream, I've enjoyed having you here. Hit like and subscribe if you enjoyed it, and check out the description for a link to Discord, my Patreon to support the channel and the game, and also my previous game on Steam, which you can add to your wish list for absolutely nothing and help me out anyway. So thanks again for watching, guys. Join me again tomorrow, 2 PM Central. Bye bye for now.